So I guess we're going to start with a round of intros.
Here we go. So thank you for taking time to listen to us at 4:30 on a Friday in New York, and appreciate that. So I'm Lorne Sugarman, CEO of a company called Metaverse Group. We are a technology platform business that has created many different games and scenes on virtual worlds such as Decentraland, Sandbox, Spatial, and moving into other more traditional Web 2 areas as well. We also have created multiple gamified NFT projects, not PFP projects, but truly gamified experiences where customers are getting NFTs for free and are creating a gamified experience that is interesting. We recently were very involved with Metaverse Fashion Week. It was held on 185 parcels of our land. We had customers like DKNY, Dolce & Gabbana, et cetera, that participated with us. And that is probably a long introduction, but that's who I am.
Very cool. I'm Sallie, Jian, and I am with SAP. So you're probably wondering, why is SAP here? I'm one of the probably not crypto native speakers at this conference. I'm probably one of the only Web 2 speakers here on stage. And the reason why I'm here is I'm on a team at SAP that is called SAP.io. And it's our startup ecosystem, corporate innovation, corporate ventures team. I mostly work with software companies, and I work with software companies that deliver great products to Fortune 500s. And in the experience of working with my team at SAP.io, I really fell personally for Web3. I fell for it. And I wanted to bring that kind of perspective into my corporate world and corporate setting. And so I've been leading the charge on Web3 startups within SAP. And that means we are working on Web3 applications that have real utility that Fortune 500s can consume, can use, can digest, can sell, or use across their customer base. And so we can talk about that in a little bit. And you just give a background to myself. I'm originally from California. And I was in New York for 7 years. COVID brought me to Miami, where I currently live. And being in Miami, you also catch the crypto bug. So if anyone's in Miami, let me know, because I always love meeting my fellow neighbors there.
Great. So I guess we're here to talk about how do you capture customers using NFTs. I'm going to start off with a basic thesis that we've been learning and hearing from brands that we talk to on a regular basis in our customers. So our customers, today you go to a traditional Web 2.0 website and you're in a shopping experience. We all know that, whether on your phone or on your desktop, whatever it may be, and you're like, oh, okay, these pair of Nike shoes that I'm wearing, for example. So are they good? Are they comfortable? Do people like them? How do I figure this out? And probably, on a Nike website, as we all know, probably 8,000 to 10,000 people there at the same time, shopping through the same experience, maybe even looking at the same Nike shoes that I am. And so you hop out to Reddit, you hop out to Twitter, you hop out and you go and find, or Google, or whatever you want to do, or whatever you use as a tool to figure out, are these comfortable shoes? Do people like them? Are they popular? Whatever I may be looking up. And instead, you lose that customer. If I'm a brand, I'm losing that customer. They're leaving my website. The chance of them executing and selling or buying that product goes down significantly on a percentage basis. So why do you use those NFTs? Why are we creating virtual worlds? Why are we creating these experiences? And it is so that you don't lose that customer. The customer doesn't leave that platform. You can create these NFTs and you can one-to-one talk to those customers. So now I've gotten that customer back because I've lost them through Amazon, through those all these other platforms that have disintermediated the customer away from me. And so I'm now going to be able to keep that customer, talk to them one-to-one about that experience, be able to have a pop-up bot or something like that, which chatbots exist today, but and I can talk to other customers and have that social experience and interactive, immersive experience, whether that's with my NFT, whether that's within my virtual store or whatever it may be. And so it's really using that NFT as opposed to a PFP project where I'm selling the sake of selling this shirt as an NFT, as a bad example. I'm actually trying to do something and communicate and community with that consumer and change that evolution where it has moved away from me as a company or brand.
Yeah, great. Definitely, I don't. I also don't do a lot of PFPs, so I believe in the utility of NFTs. And when we talk about how to acquire customers with NFTs, definitely there's a whole angle of owning that customer attribution, owning their journey, having that relationship between the brand and retailer. I agree with everything that Lorne said. For us, I think about customers as B2C and B2B. So, I've worked with a company specifically called Everledger, for example, and they mint NFTs for multiple different reasons. They can work with big luxury retail brands like Alexander McQueen. They can also work with very expensive raw resources and goods like the diamond companies or automotive companies. And they're creating these NFTs for both finished goods as well as the materials that go into these finished goods. So when it comes to materials like the diamonds industry or oil and gas, or the parts and pieces that come into the automotive goods, you want to understand the supply chain of that journey of that product. And so you want to understand that, things are not counterfeit. You want to understand that things are created in a way that is legal and fair trade, for example. So an NFT has ability to track that and trace that and give everyone the ability to have that very visible and very sort of source of truth identity. And then on the luxury side, if I'm buying a Chanel bag or something like that, I want to know that it's real. So now I have this digital twin, digital identity of that Chanel bag, and that's my ownership, certificate of ownership. But it's also a way for now a brand like that, not that Chanel's doing it, I wish they would, but for a brand like that to create this really cool new experiential sales tactic and customer experience with me where we have a more intimate relationship. They can invite me and use that NFT as a token gated access ticket or membership even so that we are able to have the better customer retention, loyalty over time. And then even in the second life of a product. Luxury brands right now have a really hard time understanding where does this product go after the original owner, where does it go if we need to recycle, and how are the materials? What are the materials made of? Are they reusable, recyclable? Or do we have to throw it out because we simply don't know what's going into the material? So these are all applications of NFTs when it comes to consumer, for sure. And then, also on the B2B side too, we're seeing a lot in the future of work experience with digital identity and verified credentials. Why does it take 2 to 4 weeks to do a background check? If you are able to own your own digital passport of your NFTs, of all the credentials you have, you could bring that from employer to employer. And this is especially important for the gig economy that so many, of us and our, younger generations participate in as we become more fluid in our workplace.
So many places to take that after that commentary. So I mean, there's as we really haven't touched on, and really the panel isn't for, is the industrial side of NFTs and the use of NFTs and augmented reality and other things. There's significant applications, and I think that gets lost today in the media and gets lost today in the community because people are so focused on the B2C side as opposed to the industrial applications which are happening in supply chain, as Sallie brought up as well. So I think those are really cool applications, and probably for another conversation another day. But I'll bring it back to the consumer side and say, for example, picking on my favorite company today just because it's on my foot, Nike, is, if you look at the Nike.swoosh marketplace that they're building, the key thing about the .swoosh marketplace is, at the end of the day, what they've done that's intelligent and amazing, and it really is what I think helps drive consumers, is you can now go, you can buy your NFTs, you can trade your NFTs, and what's great about that is, I have a 13-year-old son. He loves his Air Jordans. I guess like every other 13-year-old son. And so he can actually go and buy that Air Jordan. He can use that skin and use it in a game if he so chooses. Now, there's interoperability issues, but hopefully someday we'll get there where he'll be able to port that and take that into Fortnite. But Nike will now know my son as a customer. They'll know not his identity, but they'll know enough about him and his habits where they can figure out, maybe they drop him something for free. Maybe they actually say, hey, do you want to meet the actual true designer of this shoe? Maybe they say, hey, you're going to, because they see it in his wallet and he's actually bought a ticket through an NFT for, I'm a Toronto person, a Toronto Raptors basketball game. And so you get to meet someone that's wearing the Nike shoes, and you get to meet that athlete because he becomes a power consumer and a power influencer. And what's really even more amazing about this thing is, if you look at the shopping experience today, brands spend a ton of money on trying to get people to buy you different things. But what is interesting is influencers have lost their way in the sense that they don't drive sales as much as they do. But the super consumer, so which I don't do this, but me who might sit in my kitchen and talk to my 10,000 friends and say, these are the best shoes I've ever worn, that is a much better sales channel than the influencer, because it's much more authentic, and I am a super user and super lover of your brand. And using these NFTs and figuring out who those consumers are, and then ultimately empowering those consumers to go and do those things, is the value in the future, and how you're going to acquire customers and how you're going to really use NFTs, in my opinion, to drive sales and revenue.
Yeah, really cool. I also like Nikes. We're both wearing Nikes. It's great. But I really like the point you made about like your son. He's a teenager, and using an NFT actually allows him to not necessarily have to disclose his personal details and who he is. Having that NFT and having that data, actually, owning your own data, and is actually a huge part of this NFT economy too. Like, why would I give up, on kind of in the same thread, like if I'm applying for a mortgage or something, I shouldn't have to give up so much information about myself. I should only have to give up a limited amount of information that's direct to qualify for a mortgage. And I don't necessarily have to give them my social security or something like that. It could just be like different other types of credentials. And so I think that having these NFTs will also give you this way to really control and own your own information without giving too much, and also for brands, retailers to respect you more, because now they are only going to be able to collect so much because there aren't a bunch of these intermediaries that are collecting your information. It's just better and safer for all of us who want to, there's a lot of security issues.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting part, again, a little bit off track, but interesting in what you just said, is those value. So the NFT stores significant information, and what is quite interesting about that, if you take it again to the next level, and that information and the data, is you could potentially in the future say, I control my own data, my own information using this NFT, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk into a car dealership as an example, and I want to say to the car dealership, hey, because typically they're buying our names. These types of companies and brands are buying our names through different means. They buy lists, etc. Here you go. Here's my data. If you're interested in me and potentially being a consumer of your product, I'll pay you money for that data. And so you will be able to control your own destiny as opposed to vice versa, where the lists are being sold. It's the whole evolution. It is the change of if it really works, and hopefully it will work, and I believe it will work. It's going to take time. It's going to empower us as individuals. Everyone talks about the creator economy. I'll just say it will empower the individual economy.
I think we have like 40 seconds left, so maybe we could do one quick. What are you most excited about with NFTs?
That's a good question. I think there's just so much application for it. What I'm most excited about is actually people using the use cases to actually drive utility and bring people to onboard that billion people. Everyone says it, but I really want to see that utility where I want to use it. It's really simple for me to use it. I don't call it an NFT anymore. I call it a digital collectible. I call it something else. And we onboard it, and we get everyone involved in the community. That's what I'm most excited about.
Yeah. I feel the same way. What I'm most excited about is a future where you don't even know that you're using NFT. It just is so natural that it feels like a Web2 experience. And honestly, like that's what it's going to take to really penetrate the big brands and customers that will really bring the next billion on board. Thank you.
Thank you.